This conference will now be recorded.
And thank you so much,
All right.
Rebecca.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Erica. So, thank you very much for having me here today. I do appreciate the opportunity to speak with you all about the Census Bureau surveys and data. This is an introduction to our top surveys and data available to the public. My name again is Rebecca Broder. I'm a partnership specialist with the Census Bureau. I would be your local census contact should you need anything census related. I'm here for you and help you in any way I can. So this will be a brief presentation that should give you an overview of the surveys and the data that the Census Bureau offers. So as a valued 2020 Census partner, we want to take the opportunity to tell you how much your support meant to us, to your communities, and to our nation. We value public service, and for that reason, we've asked to meet with us today so that we can tell you how we can continue to serve you. So next slide. I love this slide. This is our first and foremost, we want to thank you. We want to thank you for your vital role in partnering with the U.S. Census Bureau to conduct a complete and accurate 2020 census count. Your dedication, community outreach efforts, and commitment to spreading the census message to your constituents has provided invaluable over the course of the unique and extremely challenging year as we've been discussing. This was the most challenging census in U.S. history, which is what's being said. So everything you did really did matter. And like I was discussing earlier with Erica, we did get a 99.9% count of New York State, which is fantastic. So our next slide. So this slide is U.S. Census Bureau at a glance. So the Census Bureau is the federal government's largest statistical agency. We are dedicated to providing current facts and figures about America's people, places, economy. Federal law protects the confidentiality of all information that the Census Bureau collects. We are, of course, known for the constitutionally mandated once-in-a-decade population count during the year ending in 0, and the housing count that we conduct for the decennial census. You are all among the valued partners who supported us to raise awareness of its importance to the public. It's important again to mention the U.S. Census Bureau doesn't just conduct the annual, the once-a-decade census count. There are other major censuses which we also conduct, including the economic census, which measures the nation's economy every 5 years in years ending 2 and 7, which provides vital statistics for virtually every industry and geographic area in the country. In addition, we do the Census of Governments, which provides comprehensive data about nearly 90,000 state and local governments in the nation, which also is conducted every 5 years, ending in 2 and 7. Next slide. Continuing this topic, as you know, the Census Bureau conducts more than 130 surveys and programs in addition to the decennial census, as well as the economic and government censuses, which occur every 5 years. In a census, data about all individual units, such as people or households, are collected in the population. In a survey, data are only collected for a subpart of the population. This is part of a sample. So that these data are then used to estimate the characteristics of the whole population. We conduct many of our surveys and programs in collaboration with other federal agencies and organizations. We have a dedicated group of field representatives that work locally to collect information on these surveys each month. The survey that you might be more familiar with is the American Community Survey, when we'll be covering more on the ACS in our next few slides. The ACS helps communities decide whether to target services and resources. We also have demographic surveys that measure income, poverty, education, health insurance coverage, housing quality, crime victimization, computer usage, and many other topics. Our economic surveys provide more frequent information about a dynamic economy. These surveys yield more than 400 annual economic reports, including principal economic indicators. We also have sponsored surveys that include the current population survey, for which we determine the unemployment rate, as well as the National Health Interview Survey and the National Survey for College Graduates. And then our population estimates and projections provide data sorted by characteristics such as age, sex, race, as well as national, state, and county by the national, state, and county location. So these are just a few of the different types of surveys that we collect, and we'll talk a little bit about each of them as we proceed through the presentation. So our next slide, how can data help me? So that's a great question, right? Most likely, you might already be aware of how data can help you, but, for us to understand best, are you using data for writing grant proposals or planning projects in the community? Things to that extent is the best, obviously, first starting point of understanding what data products you might need from which surveys. So that's one of the things we certainly, encourage you to identify and then follow up with us so we can better help you find those data products. And then next slide, we're all about Census. You've heard about who we are and you know who you are, but did you know how easy it is to procure the most accurate and up-to-date data that you need to inform your most important decisions? Well, we have many data products, and one of the things we, of course, want to convey to people is that these products are free. They're free to the public, and the assistance in accessing them and using them, using our search engines, is also free. And then before we learn, next slide, I'm sorry, slide 7. Before we learn more about the surveys, let's review what we did during the decennial census. So with your help, we counted everyone once, only once, and in the right place in 2020, even though it was an extremely challenging experience. Our data released for the decennial census will determine the distribution of federal funding and congressional seats among the state of New York. Our current schedule points to April 30th, 2021 for the release of the apportionment count. That's a new date that we've updated, so it may not be consistent with your current slide. I'm just letting you know, as well as the second date. We will be releasing the redistricting counts to the states on September 30th, 2021. In addition, we have another date, our data summit. Those will be training opportunities offered by the Census Bureau for the state of New York between April and June of 2021, and I'll talk a little bit about those a little later in the presentation. And next slide is besides our demographic and housing surveys, and that'll be the next topic for the presentation. Slide 9, the American Community Survey. The American Community Survey is an ongoing survey that provides vital information on a yearly basis about the nation and its people. And we sample over 3.5 million households for this survey. The survey identifies a varying range of topics such as veteran status, educational attainment, access to broadband internet, income status, public utility access, and it goes on and on and on. It covers, it's approximately 40 pages long. It's a very big, long survey. It really complements the decennial census. And it's probably one of the most widely used census surveys nationally, in addition to the decennial census. Next slide. One of the reasons the ACS has such a wide, it is so widely used and so useful is because it has excellent geographic coverage. It uses the same geographic coverage as the decennial census, and not all surveys do that. So basically, you can look at the ACS data from the national level down to states, counties, all the way down to census tract and block group. The block group is a group of 600 housing units. That's the smallest group of data that the census will release. And then a census tract is typically 4,000 housing units. So that's excellent, obviously, if you're looking for data to write a grant on a town or a county level project. You can go to the ACS and you can pull the data appropriately for your geographic coverage. So that is one of the great benefits of using ACS data. All right, next slide. The ACS has a wide array of resources available online. We have a website for it, census.gov/programs surveys/ACS. We also have handbooks that can be downloaded, as well as training presentations that are pre-recorded that you can access there. We have a 1-800 number that you can call if you have questions about using the ACS. We have another 800 number that you can call if you've been selected to participate in the ACS and you have some questions about your survey. And we also have an email address that can be, you can use to reach with ACS questions. Next slide. The American Housing Survey. So the American Housing Survey is sponsored by the Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, and it's conducted by the U.S. Census Bureau. This survey has been the most comprehensive national housing survey in the United States since 1973. It provides current information on the size, composition, and quality of the nation's housing and measures changes in its housing stock as it ages. Some of the topics you can look into with this particular survey includes, but not limited to, the physical condition of homes and neighborhoods, the costs of financing and maintaining those homes, and the characteristics of people who are living in those homes. So, for example, if you're doing research on housing in your area and you want to know about structural deficiencies in homes amongst a certain neighborhood or in rural New York, for example, then you can look at this survey. You can go to the American Housing Survey website at census.gov, and you can actually, create a table with that information so that you can pull the data that you need. Okay, next slide. Oops. All right, Population Estimates Program. So each year, the Census Bureau's Population Estimates Program uses current data on births, deaths, and migration to calculate population change since the most recent decennial census, and it produces a time series of estimates of population, demographic components of change, and housing units. This produces estimates of the population for the United States, each state, counties, cities, and towns, as well as for the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico and its municipalities. The demographic components of population change and housing unit estimates are produced at the national, state, and county levels of geography. These estimates tend to be used in federal funding allocations, as well as survey controls, and used for vital rates and per capita time series as indicators of recent demographic changes. So in short, it produces estimates of population, and it's based on the most recent decennial census data. So at present, if you're to look up the PEP and you're looking for an estimate of population for a particular location, it would be the estimate using base data from the 2010 decennial census. Okay, so next slide. We're going to talk a little bit about our economic data and surveys. Okay, slide 15, the economic census. So the economic census is our most comprehensive measure of the U.S. economy. It provides industry and market statistics at the national, state, and local levels. The economic census is the official 5-year measure of the American businesses collected for years ending in 2 and 7. So the next economic census is scheduled to take place in 2022, with companies reporting their 2022 year-end numbers. Economic census data serves as a foundation for the gross domestic product, the GDP, and other leading economic indicators for the nation. These statistics are used by trade associations, economic development agencies, government and individual businesses for business decisions and policymaking. So now we have gone over some of our more well-known surveys the U.S. Census Bureau collects. I want to begin with a little example of probably a lesser-known survey, but certainly a good economic survey, as one of many that we do have. And that's the Survey of Business Owners on slide 16. So this is just an example of one of the additional economic surveys. Here are a few more. There are a few more that I can mention to you as well. We have the longitudinal employer household dynamics program. That's a mouthful. It produces high quality local labor market information and provides a sense of economic and demographic data programs. So it'll produce data such as job to job flows, quarterly workforce indicators, as well as, information to track workforce turnover, job creation, and destruction. But going back to the survey of business owners, this survey provides the only comprehensive, regularly collected source of information on selected economic and development characteristics for businesses and business owners by gender, ethnicity, race, and veteran status. So certainly if you're doing research to start a business and you'd like to know how many, women-owned businesses, veteran-owned businesses in a particular area, this would be the survey you would want to go to. And it collects additional information such as how many businesses there are of a type in an area, how many people are employed in those types of businesses, and what the annual payroll might be. So another good economic survey. So slide 17, what's next? We'll jump over to slide 18. So here we want to stay connected, obviously. We are, in the process of creating our data summits for the spring that I mentioned earlier. These data summits should be conducted from April through June 2021. And they're going to be led by specialists in the topic areas for which they're being given. So, if we were, obviously we're not complete in our catalog. Once our catalog is complete, we're going to send that out to everyone. You can review it and see exactly which data summit would be best for you. You can go to as many as you like or as few. And they'll probably run 1 to 2 hours depending on the topic. And the depth of information that will be covered. So, for example, if there's a data summit that focuses on using American Community Survey data for grant writing, then we'll have someone who works specifically on the American Community Survey, probably that can, really go through that information, go through how to search the data on data.census.gov. And really give a deep dive into searching data on the American Community Survey with respect to pulling it for the purposes of grant writing. So slide 19 is our Census Academy. So this is just a resource page. You can go to census.gov/academy. We have a variety of different resources and tools, videos that you can watch that walk you through different resources for which to search data. For example, I probably won't go through them all, but for example, we have our Data Gem videos. They're little videos that are recorded by Census Bureau staff that cover specific topics. So for example, if you're trying to research race data on data.census.gov using the American Community Survey data, you can go and watch a 5-minute video that tells you exactly how to pull that information for the location in which you're searching. Okay, so slide 20. So slide 20 is our Statistics in Schools program. The Census Bureau designed this program with the aid of teachers across the country in order to provide information for K through 12 students about statistics as well as a variety of subject matters. We have available at this site for download lesson plans, videos, maps, booklets, anything really you can imagine that can be pulled immediately by anyone for use in the classroom. We do have lesson plans that are set up with teacher versions and student versions that, we all understand that teachers have been under a lot of stress, with the hybrid and the virtual classrooms and so forth. We definitely want to make sure that people are aware that this resource is available. It's free, and they can just visit the site and pull the information. In addition to this, I will say I know that I've spoken to other librarians, and we also have some elementary and high school age census wall maps Some of you may have already seen these during the 2020 decennial. Those are still available, and we want to make sure that if anyone wants a wall map, we will make sure to take an order and we will ship that to you. It's free of charge. We'll send them via FedEx, and you can order really as many as you like. If you have for the library system, we could send you 500 if that's what you need, or if you want us to send individual boxes of 50 to different libraries, we're happy to do that. So just let me know. Reach out to Erica, or you can reach out to me directly, and we're happy to order maps for you for the kids. Okay, so our next slide is slide 21. This is just other resources to explore. So these are links to our various different resource sites, including our Statistics in Schools site. We have a link for people who have been, have received a request for survey participation, and they may have some questions. There's a link for that. We have a link for jobs. So we are still hiring field representative positions for our ongoing census surveys, such as the ACS or the current population survey and other surveys like that. Those jobs are part-time permanent positions. We can get you more information on that, or you can provide the link on this slide out to people, and they simply can just go in and they can request additional information with respect to applying for a census position. All other links we have here, we have some data visualization links. We have our America Count. That's a collection of stories that we have from different census partners who found great success using census data. For example, perhaps they worked on a grant proposal and they were awarded a substantial amount of money in order to help community members using census data, and additional user stories as well. So just links that you can check out that provide a good bit of information for you. And then our next slide. Okay, so the next slide is share your thoughts. So I like this slide. This is my favorite part of the presentation because I get to hear from our census partners, you on the phone. We want to know with respect to the 2030 census, what your 2020 census experience was and what you found to be the best practice you used in order to do your outreach to the community. Was there a particular, understanding that, COVID-19 made it difficult, that a lot of in-person events were, had to be rethought and so forth. But if there's anything that you did that you felt was really effective, we really want to hear about that. So now I'll just open it up to anyone who wants to talk a little bit about their best practices.
So thanks so much, Rebecca. We have a question from one of the participants who asks, has the PEP taken into account people leaving cities due to COVID?
I believe so, because I believe they do track migration. So yes, in respect to that, they would have to. But of course, we'll understand that better when the decennial data comes out on the local level and the state level as to just how many people did move. But if that person wants to follow up, I can get a little more information on that and provide it to you, Erica.
That would be great. Thank you so much. And can you please remind us again, because we're, as a system and as individual libraries, we're all in the midst of doing a bunch of strategic planning. When will the numbers from this, from the 2020 census be available?
So the apportionment counts come out on September 30th, 2021. Then it would have to follow that. We don't have dates specific to the county, and going down to the tract and block group level, those tend to come out in segments, so we won't see them all at once, but we will see them sometime after September 30th. My hope is that by the time redistricting counts come out and apportionment counts, that we would have at least a projected date for that data. And of course, we'll be keeping you apprised of that because that is a a question that everyone has, of course, right? Everyone wants to know when their local data will be available. So I would say, it will be after September 30th.
Okay, so for our purposes, we'll still probably be using the American Community Survey because we'll need to be done before that. But we look forward to
Yeah,
seeing the updated numbers. Thank you.
of course. Yeah.
So if anybody has any questions or wants to share about what the process was like, feel free to unmute yourself. Or if you'd rather put something in the chat, I'm happy to read it out loud, whatever works best for you.
I'll jump in. So yeah, last year was definitely a different year for us, but we found that partnering with the Mechanicsville Community Services Center, and we did it outside in our parking lot, and we called a couple free food giveaway places, and it seemed to work out better. We gave away free ice cream. We were just able to bring more people in for our community, I believe. So.
That's
I love it.
fantastic.
That's awesome, Michelle.
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
you
I know a
offer
lot of the
food, they'll show up.
Yes. Yeah, I saw one library, they did school supplies like that. And they did get a lot of people, and we enumerated a lot of people that day.
Yeah.
That's great. Anyone else?
Well, thank you so much, Rebecca. I really appreciate it. Everybody, you can continue to, if you want to ask a question, just I'm going to stop the recording now, but we are still on with Rebecca. So if anybody wants to either unmute yourself or turn on your camera, you can ask any questions you like or share any stories from your experience with uh, collecting information for the census. And if not, it doesn't look like there's anything else. So thank you so much, everyone. I will make both the recording and I have the slides in a PDF and I will make that available to everybody so you can share it with community partners if you like. And I really appreciate your time. If anybody has any questions for me relating to this or anything else, please feel free to stay on the line and ask me. I'm here to help. And thank you so much to Rebecca for making time to meet with us and share what's going on with the census.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And my contact information is available on the last slide,
Okay.
along with our data dissemination email. So if you need training from a data dissemination specialist, you can reach out to them or you can reach out to me and we can set that up for you.
Excellent. Yeah, we'll definitely be back in touch once once the information is available.
Great.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much and have a fantastic day.
Thank you very much.
And again, I'm still on the line, so if anybody has any questions or wants to talk to me about anything, feel free to either ask a question or turn on your camera, whatever you like.
Hey, Erica. How are you
Hello.
today?
Hello, Mr. Scott.
Do you want, we could put this up on our YouTube and have a link to the PDF on just below the video there, I believe. I'm not sure if that is,
Yes, please.
if that's what you wanted to do. But I was just thinking, oh,
That would
could
be
work.
perfect, sir. Thank you. You're the best. So, Jack, will you be able to grab the recording or
Yeah,
do I need to send it to you?
no, it'll go on. Diane usually sends me an email saying your recording is done, so she might send it to you because this was your event. But
Okay.
usually takes an hour or two before it gets processed and then can be uploaded or downloaded. So
Okay. So once I get that, I'll send that to you, but I'll send you the PDF right away.
cool.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, I missed the. I got up and I came back just when there was talk of a map for children's librarians. I'm not sure. I only caught the very last second of it, so I was like, oh wait,
For
there's
like schools and children's librarians. Yeah, if you're interested in getting maps for everybody, or if you think that the youth services librarians would enjoy that, I'll give you Rebecca's email and you can email her,
Yeah,
and
I
she's
might.
happy
Yeah,
to
I would
send
like to
out.
do that because then I can send those out to everybody, and because I don't think
I'm
probably a
still
lot of
here.
use services
Yeah,
people.
if you need any maps, I'm happy to provide those.
Oh,
Oh, that's
Rebecca's still on the
fantastic.
call, Jack, so you
I'm
can make
sorry,
that
I'm still
happen right
on.
now.
Oh, nice. Yes, that would be great, Rebecca. I'll email you,
Sure,
and because I'd like to send one out to each of the use service librarians.
sure.
I'm sure
Yeah,
because I
we
doubt
have
they were actually on the
browse.
call today. So
Okay, yeah, we're happy to do that. Usually takes about 1 or 2 weeks to come in.
awesome. And is it? What is the map? Sorry, I had to step away for a second.
Well, yeah, they're on Census wall maps. Those they're created through our Statistics in Schools program. I'm trying to remember the exact size. They're fairly large, but they come folded, so and they come in boxes of 50. They're U.S. maps. They
Yeah.
provide some state-based information across the map. They're very, very nice. They're very high quality. So and certainly I did hand a lot of them out during the 2020 census, and they were very well received. So I think that you would certainly like them. And then if you just hang them in the library or to hand them to the kids, you
Yeah.
certainly can order as many as you need. And we
Oh,
have
great.
elementary versions and we have a high school version available.
Oh, perfect. Yes, because then we have a pretty good smooth poster delivery system here working for from delivering summer reading posters over the years. So
Great. Yeah,
so thank you.
sure. We're happy to. Okay.
Excellent.
Erica, did you want me to drop off? I don't know if you were moving into another meeting.
Oh, yeah, well, it looks like we're done. There's still two people on the line. I don't know if they're really here or if they've stepped away from their computer, but right now it's just me
Sure.
and Jack. So I think that unless somebody has a question, Jack, did you get all the information you needed and all your questions answered?
Yes.
And I'm going to send you the PDF, and then once we get the recording, I'll send that to you, and we'll put a link to everything on the YouTube channel, and then I'll share that out with our directors.
Sounds good.
Awesome
All right.
sauce.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. I appreciate it. So yeah,
Thank you
once
very
the data
much.
is out and there are people who can help us figure out how to decipher it and where to go to get it, we'd love to set up another session.
Yes, and I'll be getting the catalog out to you as soon as it's ready for the data
Awesome.
summit. So
Yeah,
you guys
perfect.
can take a look at it and see if anything appeals to you as far as attendance. And those have I think we'll host those through WebEx, which will accommodate I think thousands of people. So no
Oh,
worries
wow.
about yeah. I think you couldn't probably get as many people on those as we need to. So they should be good.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I really appreciate
All
it.
right, thank you. All right, you enjoy the day. Enjoy the
Yeah, you
sunny
too. Have a
weather.
good one.
You too. Bye.
Bye. All right, so I'm going to close out the meeting. Thank you, everybody, for attending, and have a fantastic day.